your fucking quality is gonna be great.
Yeah, duh.
Fucking COVID, dude. All right. Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm good. I think.
We're good?
I think so.
Alright, so I said we just fucking quick rundown of like COD champs. Empire win. Are we surprised? I don't think so. I
Not at all.
mean, the top three teams were finished in the top four in regular season. The only one that passed is Mutineers, who snuck in at third at the end of the regular season, but didn't
Correct.
honestly think that they were going to finish that well in COD champs, and they didn't. Um, I had
Yeah, I
FaZe
think
winning the event, but
I was just gonna say. I think I at the time I think I was very very sure that FaZe was gonna run away with it, but fucking Clay, dude, Clay and Krim.
yeah, so they get 3 rings. Ty Karma. I think Crim's the best all time. As hard as
Yeah,
that is to say, like, towards Karma. Dude's got, what, like 37, 38, something like that in championships.
yeah.
Um, People are going to say, well, this one's online. I gonna give full credit because everybody had the same disadvantages. If you had lived in an area where your connection was bad, well, that sucks. But top three team during LAN season now finished first place at the end of the online season.
Didn't come as much surprise.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I would have been much more surprised if a team like Florida had had come away with it, but with Dallas, had they won any tournament throughout the year, it wouldn't have been a surprise that they were winning
yeah,
with the team they had. But and then yeah, now
so
coming into the new year, you have teams like that that are, you know,
they're already made, and then win next fucking day. All right, goodbye. You guys have to fucking break up.
yeah, just
Clayster, adios. Just like that, dude. Is he about to go win a world championship on 3 different rosters back to back to back?
we'll have to see where he ends up before I
Yeah,
answer that. I don't know. I don't want
yeah,
to answer that before I see who he's playing with, but maybe it's
dude.
possible. I
Um,
mean, with how many players there are, you could make so many top five contending teams out of like the 35 free agents right now.
yeah,
I mean, this is the biggest roster mania we have had by far in the last few years. It seems like everyone's starting from scratch, even teams that I didn't really expect to completely chalk
gone,
things. You know, it's yeah.
dude.
I mean,
What blows my mind?
Paris Legion, like that was a surprise to me.
Wiped off the map. I think
Yeah,
I thought they were gonna at least keep like 1 or 2 guys, but fuck no, they were like gone. Minnesota gone. Uh, London Royal Ravens all but one
kept Shawnee.
kept
Yeah,
Shawnee.
that's a huge surprise as well.
Shawnee had a good fucking playoff, so I'll give him that. But I just wouldn't have expected that that would have been the guy.
Yeah.
I would have expected them to try to keep the Twins and brand them, but you know.
Where did the Twins go now? That
I saw a
I see.
tweet
I don't
from
think either set
Scraps
of
saying,
Twins
"Yeah,
is going to be on the same team in the next game.
no," and that's really weird to think about. Um, I saw a tweet from Scraps that was basically saying that they wanted to stick together, but if contracts, don't align, then that's just what happens.
Yeah, that's all you can do in a situation like this.
And what?
Like we talked about, we briefly touched on all the new players trying to come into the league. You've got people that have been in Call of Duty for years and years now, like General, who was a sub, didn't play. Dashy ended up being a sub, hardly played. You've got players like Mental, like Frosty, these people that have come from different games that are trying to get in on the league. Then you've
Yeah,
got other players that have been like Tupac, that have been playing S&D forever, that are still trying to break into the league or trying this year to get into the league. I just don't think there's going to be enough room for a lot of good talent this year.
I wanted 4v4, but it would have been a lot nicer if expansion teams came through this year for the 4v4. This really kind of fucking sucks for a lot of those teams that are, there's those
Yeah.
players that are talented enough to be in the league, but now there's just not enough roster spots, so they're just going to be ousted. And
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see how any players can come into the league this year with a starting spot with that weren't a part of the league last year, at least as a sub. It's just, I mean, we're
and
gonna
there's
lose.
rumors that there is too. That's what's mind-boggling too. That there's
Yeah,
players from the challengers that are gonna be starting, but
yeah, which is crazy because, like you said, there's 12 starters from last year that are in the air. They don't have a spot.
yeah, exactly.
Hypothetically, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes right now, the numbers, but like, I mean, just going down to fours, there's so many great players that probably haven't found a home yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
What it's
like you
all
said on Twitter, we see Wuzkin and Scraps talking about it still today that they haven't figured it out yet.
what's most mind blowing to me too, dude, is like the fact that you would have thought that job security would have been way higher with the new league, and we're
Yeah.
seeing like at least almost half the players just ousted. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't see like the I don't know if there are differences in how everyone went about or how our franchising for Call of Duty went about it as opposed to like League of Legends and Overwatch, but I feel like in other esports that have been franchised to this point, I feel like the pros weren't really treated the way they are being right now in Call of Duty. It seems like Call of Duty is kind of behind.
yeah, and I get it. This year, in your inaugural year, something like COVID happens, and that just fucks up like scheduling, all that shit. And to be honest with you, like, I think for what had happened, they did an overall good job. I mean, there's definitely stuff I'd critique, but
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, having LAN events wasn't really realistic. I think it probably could have been done, but would it have been worth it? Probably not.
no,
I mean, I think that come Cold War, everyone's going to kind of forget the kind of year this was. And it's going to be, even if I think that Cold War compared to this year is going to work out a lot of
what's up, guys?
odds are we're going to be playing a lot of events online for Cold War, you know.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to have maybe more kinks worked out, maybe a different system in place to try and keep the playing field as level as possible. But I mean, they're going to have the same challenges, so we'll just have to see how a different developer can work with the league and see what happens. But I don't think they handled it as poorly as they could have.
no,
I think, granted, I mean, just even the streams for the events almost went better than they did or just as good as they do when they have a LAN event. They have technical issues at LAN events. They have the
yeah,
same things going on the online events. I mean, but the casters did a really good job of trying to keep everything as involved as possible.
yeah. I think the overall like adjusting rule sets too, like they were listening to players. Yes, there was a lot of like frustration, especially with like those having connection issues in like California and stuff. But the other alternative is no league.
Yeah,
And imagine we don't have a league for the rest of that season. Um, then everybody's just gonna be saying, "Well, you guys could have played online." Like everybody was
yeah,
bitching about online, but it's like
yeah,
the only real other alternative is no league, and then you don't have like that messes up like sponsorships for the league, player contracts, stuff like that. So
yeah. And a lot of people, when it first was announced going online, a lot of people said like, "Why don't we just put this chalk the year, put this money towards the next prize pool?" But it's like you said, the same people would have been complaining if that was the original decision. They would
right,
have said to just play it online. So they did what they could with the situation they were given. The year turned it out okay. It was cool to see Clay and Krim get another ring. Now this upcoming year with Clayster not being a part of Dallas and Krim being announced that he's staying, I mean, it's there's a good chance, or depending where Clay ends up, he could catch Krim this year
Yeah.
in total earnings, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, both of them are the first players to exceed $1 million in earnings, which is nuts. Krim gets to stay with Dallas over Clayster.
What do you think about that decision?
It's tough because like those are both big brands. From a payroll part for Dallas, I want to say it's a good decision, but I know that Shotzi, the buyout from him from Splice, because he was like under Splice, was enormous. Like I think Castor was saying it was like one of the biggest like buyouts he's ever had to do on a player that had never played. Well, it worked out for him. Shotzi's fucking goated, dude.
MVP, you know.
Kid's
good
movement, dude. His movement's insane.
And Dallas, this Dallas team, I mean, you could say it about the top probably 4 or 5 teams for this next year coming into a Treyarch game with Cold War.
Yeah.
But the Dallas team, as of now, could be insane in a game like that.
Yeah.
With Crim6 at the top, Illy, Shotzi, Hook.
Hook's goated too. Illy's great at S&D. The dude does whatever. That team's gonna be insane still. Yeah. I think.
I think that the top 3 from last year is going to be the top 3 next year, just based on the players on each team. Both, and to clarify, Atlanta FaZe, Dallas Empire, Chicago Huntsmen. The rosters that they have coming into this next season, at least rumored, because nothing's been confirmed about Atlanta other than Abizi and Simp, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Abizi, Simp, and
Celium.
I think
RC's rumored.
Yeah, RC. I'm gonna pull this shit up real quick because we might as well just get right into it.
Yeah, I just think that roster with the young guns has huge potential in a game like Cold War, a Treyarch game. Obviously, Dallas has the same potential, and then you've got Chicago, where Envoy could have easily been the MVP as well.
Yeah.
This last year, he had a phenomenal year all year.
Bro,
you've got T2P and Dashy coming back.
Yeah. So twins are gone. That was confirmed. Yesterday?
Yeah.
I think it was officially tweeted yesterday. As expected. I mean, they were first ones out. I mean, it was just kind of blatant. I am surprised that they are rumored to be on separate teams, though. I thought they would leave and stay together. And if they weren't going to stay together, that maybe Arcides would stay. But it looks like they're both gone. And
rumored to be splitting up.
Yep, rumored to be splitting up. Dashy is as announced without being announced that he's coming over as it can possibly get. He's been
everyone knows. Yeah. We know Dashy.
We knew fucking before the season was over that this shit was gonna happen.
Yeah,
he's been streaming with Formal and Scump. Been playing a lot with both of them.
He's been all over Twitter.
All over Twitter.
We know.
Yeah.
We call it the bread trail, Dashy. We get it.
So assuming that Chicago Huntsman team is the one that we all think it's going to be,
it's a great roster.
It's good, dude. I'm excited.
I can't see that not being a top 3 team. I mean, as cliche as it might be now to say that T2B are going to be top 3, I know, but they're there every year. So
bring back 4v4. That's one less person on the map that all those guys have to kill. And I get it. Like, that's the same for all the teams, but Envoy has been proven to be nuts in both the 5v5 games.
Yeah, and I think he's only going to be better on Treyarch maps this year. Yeah. I think Envoy, the way he plays that sub role, he's going to put up big numbers, I think, this year.
Scump, I think honestly, this last year was one of his best years of the last three. I think he's shown that he's like not going anywhere. Yes, he's not like Black Ops 2 Ghost Gump anymore, but he fucking fried this year. So,
And this was on a game that he had spoken out on multiple times about how it not being his favorite, you know?
yeah.
So and when it comes down to COD pros, it seems like people always stand out. They have standout performances in games on games that they really enjoy playing and love playing. So again, everyone being so excited to come back to Treyarch and that style of gameplay, I think like players like Scump and Formal, or even like Crim Six, Octane, like the players like this are gonna have Kenny are
Yeah.
gonna have a way bigger year this year or this upcoming game than even last year, I think. So that's another squad we didn't really talk about is the LA Optic. I mean,
Yeah, we might as
they
well talk.
announced they announced Kenny and Slasher back that I saw. Um
I saw they re-signed Draza too, which
or Draza, yep.
nothing on TJ yet.
And I haven't really seen him tweeting anything either.
I know.
So I wonder if he is. I mean, he hasn't tweeted anything about free agency. He also hasn't tweeted anything about already kind of being in with a group. So either someone's keeping it pretty quiet, or or
Or
he
they're
hasn't
working
found
on a
a spot yet.
contract. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure because I was hearing that Priesta was going there, but then I also heard that Priesta wasn't going there. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that was with TJ Kenny and Slasher. But now they re-signed Draza, which deservingly so. The kid was nuts, but if they keep TJ, is that team like really good? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I would put them right up there in that top three category. I mean,
TJ and Slasher in the last 4v4 game together on Rise. Phenomenal.
mm-hmm.
Kenny was part of the TK roster that
TK
won, what, 2 or 3 events? Something like that.
back to back.
They went back to back to start. I think they may have. I know they finished second at Champs.
But I think they may have gotten 3, like you were saying. I think they may have gotten 3.
I think they,
that year, though, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
I think they changed up their roster. It was like Kenny and Accuracy, and then they dropped Chino and whoever the other one was, and then picked up Enable and Pharaoh, if I remember right.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's so many players floating around right now that I could see there not really being, because I mean, in the last few years, there has been a very clear top 3 teams, and the gap between 3 and 4 was a little bit wider than it maybe was in the past, just in these last couple years. So I think this year we have potential of seeing like I said, like a top 5 like teams that are just really neck and neck. There's so much talent floating around that we'll just have to see where everyone ends up.
I know. I mean, you're literally taking what was mostly a competitive league. I mean, 6 of the 12 teams won a championship this past year. You're taking that from 60 players, minus 12, down to the 48 quote quote best players in the world. Like, it should be even more competitive this year.
And it's surprising that there were as many teams with multiple tournament wins this year, and there were still 6 different teams.
I know. That's
because I mean, we had teams that
Dallas
won
that
back
won
to back, teams that won multiple. I mean,
the top 4 teams all won more than one, and then there were still 2 other teams that won one, like Toronto won one, New York won one.
Which, again, that could be, it was an online season for the second half, and that's when a lot of the other teams picked up wins too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the 2 wins prior to Champs were 2 of those new teams. Am I correct? I'm trying to think of who won going into Champs.
Toronto.
Toronto, correct.
One going into Champs. That team was actually kind of finished the year pretty good. So I'm just gonna go over what they're rumored. It looks like they're rumored to keep 4 of them: Kleenex, Bance, Cammy, and Methods.
Yeah.
I saw that they announced some free agents, but I'm not sure exactly which ones. I want to say that I heard that Kleenex and Cammy were like for sure. Methods and Bance were undecided, and the rest were like kind of dropped. And then they have this Insight kid who played with, I want to say Draza earlier in the year. So if he's rumored to be on the bench, he could be good for them. But they finished strong. Kleenex is pretty fucking good. I remember seeing him at COD Champs last year. You, me, Tyler, and Chase. And
Yep.
he broke out. There's not a whole lot more I can say about that team because it's a really weird one that I don't think like each of them are like super like stars, but they worked out at the end of the year. So if they stay together, they could still be good for all I know. But
And then you've got a team like Florida, where they started out looking like they were going to be a top 3 team for the year, and all of a sudden things stopped clicking. Pristini wanted out, and now we're looking at a new roster.
Yeah.
Again. So most teams, I mean, that's going to be the case, where it's going to be a completely new roster.
Well, I see Frosty got announced free agency today. Mox, but I mean Mox got benched for Awakening in June, and then they had their June run of winning 3 events, but or 2 events or something like that. I think it was 3. But anyways, that team, if Awakening and Pharaoh stay, they should be fine. Skies was nuts. He was up for MVP this year. Don't know what they'll do with Havoc. Haven't heard anything from Havoc. I couldn't tell you. So that team, I don't know who their 4th would be. But like we see on there, we see Pharaoh's rumored to also be with the subliners, and that's kind of shocking to me because originally I was hearing it was going to be Clay, Zuma, and Attach reuniting with Mac. Haven't heard anything on Attach. Subliners drop a bunch of players like Accuracy, a few of their bench players like Happy and Sensor. Temp gets dropped. I want to see the Zuma Attach Clayster reunite. I want to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. Mac was a good rookie this year.
Yeah, the last 2 years have had a lot of really high-performing rookies. You know?
Yeah.
Players that are really new to the league, and they're out here just, I mean, hard carrying the vets, really. I mean,
yeah.
We've been seeing that a lot more in the last couple of years, I think, than in the past as well.
Yeah, these last 2 years have been really good for rookies.
Yeah. You think there ends up being a spot in this league for General, or do you think he's gonna be on the bench?
I don't think so.
He's gonna make content for the Huntsman all year. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think he could easily do it.
I think
I'm not discrediting him.
I'm not discrediting him either. It's more or less we have no visual gameplay of him this past year.
Yeah.
A lot of people like go off recency bias, and when they're forming teams, I think that's gonna be part of it. I mean, with
I don't think it's gonna hurt him either. I think him staying in Chicago, I mean, for all that it's worth, he's not playing, and he's a competitor. He wants to play, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, staying in Chicago with that group of guys, being in all the content and everything, that's only going to help him in the long run.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're here talking about Rostermania. We're here talking about the CDL. But I think that with the Treyarch game coming, and from what we've seen from the reveals and everything, and new gameplay now that we've been able to watch, so many people in this league need to take advantage of the game they're about to get. Because it might be a while before we get another good content game. They need to take advantage of it and make content. It's only going to help everybody. It's,
Gonna
I
help
mean,
grow CDL.
the Huntsmen by no means chalked the year because they were making content. They would stop a couple weeks before the big tournament, and
Yeah.
and then pick it back up right again. It's not hurting anything as far as competition goes. They were winning throughout the year and getting great placements when they weren't winning. So it's like, I just think a lot of people use competition as an excuse to not make content,
Right.
and a lot of them aren't set up for what happens after the competition's done.
Yeah.
Not everyone is set up to be able to just jump right into full-time streaming or YouTube. It's not a very select few. Even looking at this list, I'd say could just completely go full-time streamer right now if they had to.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, the good thing for a lot of them is they're young, so they still have quite of a career left, and these contracts that they're going to get are night and day better than the COD we've lost in the past. So these guys that aren't even playing on the bench, minimum are 50 grand.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
I know you and I would love to sit on a bench and
Yeah. I mean,
reel in
that
50
would be
grand.
great. That would be great.
Make content on the side. But,
Our big shot on Twitter,
yeah.
free agent. Pick me up.
Yeah, exactly. But for like the older guys, like if you haven't started branding yourself, and you're starting to fall off, that's not good.
Yeah.
Good thing for a lot of those veteran players is that they have a big brand, just based on how long they've been in the scene and how the scene used to be with all the trash talk and all that stuff,
Right.
and all the
Like
rivalries.
retiring.
Yeah.
Like he was never. I mean, he's just been in the league so long that he'll always have Call of Duty
Fans,
community members watching him, fans watching him. Yeah. So someone like him, I mean, he probably won't. If anything, his viewers will probably slowly go up because he's going to be putting way more time into streaming, all of his time. But and that's probably the case with a lot of the people. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't mean to say that none of them could. It's just none of them have really prepared for it.
Right.
So it's like, yes, if they had to go full-time streamer, their numbers would slowly go up because they're great players, and they would get used to becoming a personality.
Yeah.
But
see, just looking at the rest of these rosters, real quickly, we can touch on any of them. FaZe should be nuts if that is what it is.
Yeah, top 3, guaranteed. I would assume.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're bringing back 3 of the United World Championship team.
Yeah.
Hell, all 4 of those guys were in the top 3 team to finish. Be sad to not see the twins together, but that's just what happens with how it is now. Simp, Abizi go back-to-back as far as getting to champs finals in their first 2 years, so those kids are going to be set for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Celium was up for MVP this year. Kid's nuts. Our cities will get like a main AR for the first time, and
that's dangerous too. That's
because he's good. He should be a main AR.
Right there with a lot of these other players like Formal and such. I mean,
another team I want to look at is the Surge. They drop everybody but Octane. So this rumored roster
doesn't look bad.
Doesn't look bad. I'm concerned with the SMG presence because I think both of those guys are more of a support SMG role. From my understanding, Looney used to be like a Slayer earlier in his career, and Preston probably has the ability to, but they've been more of a support style the last few years.
When I look at that team, it wouldn't happen because of it wouldn't be a good fit personality wise. I don't think necessarily, or for the team. But that's the kind of team that I think would benefit more from having someone like TJ on their team.
Yeah,
You know.
I want to see Pristine in the league. I think TJ would fit it a lot better. That'd be basically their Rise Nation roster with Octane switching for
Yeah.
Slasher, which slash methods, but um, that team would be nuts. And it's nothing against Pristini. I just think I'd rather see him on a different team.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say it's not. It's more the, like you said, the roles. I don't
I
think
think he's
that.
first one out on that because I know from past conversations, Gunless said that him and Looney used to get into shit, but
Yeah.
he loved teaming with Looney because they'd always fucking want to win, try to figure out
Yeah.
what was correct. So yes, they'll have bickers, but I think they'll be fine. I'm pretty sure Looney and Octane have teamed before on Black Ops 3, I want to say it was. I think Looney and Octane were on the same team for Rise back then. Um, Pristini and Gunless have teamed before, so
Hmm.
all of these guys have at least teamed with one other person. It could be a nasty roster. I just don't know if it. I think there will be role issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt that. Like I said, I think that team could benefit with someone like TJ Haley or
Like I
or
like
Envoy, that kind of player. The pace, they need that pace
yeah,
up. I think Looney, Gunless, Octane are a little bit more methodical
yeah.
minds. I think they need
I mean,
that pace.
Prestino, he can play like a psycho. It's just will they allow him to? And can Looney like support him? I don't know. We didn't get to see Looney play this year, so I mean
Yeah, it's true.
the dude's a legend, so I'm not concerned there. But he was on the bench all year.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I think
I
we
guess the only other team we haven't really covered, I guess, is London and Paris. We didn't really touch on. We talked about London,
we didn't really touch on the
deciding to build
gorillas
up
either.
Shawnee.
We didn't touch off the
Oh
gorilla.
yeah, we skipped the gorillas as well. We skipped the gorillas as well.
Just quick rundown with the gorillas, and then we can get to the other two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Vivid, good rookie. Apathy, two-time champ. Silly, Silly, and Assault have all won a world championship together
Yeah,
in World War II. Do I think that team would compete?
maybe top six.
I think they'd be in the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's enough slaying power there. I think they all know how to play the game. They might be able to slip in a competition or two, like a tournament or two, but I think that's more of a dark horse team. It's not definitely not one of the top four.
yeah,
If
you're
that team is the team that we see here, um,
yeah.
that's all I really have to say about them. I don't know if you have anything.
I mean, not really. I
Yeah,
don't. I like you said. I mean, they have three champs. I don't see them. With that being said, I don't see them coming into this game as one of the best teams. But I, who knows? I mean,
I know every year is
who
different.
really
Sometimes
knows?
there's teams that you're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean,
But
this last year, Octane had a year. I mean, we all know that. But I mean, coming into this next game, I don't see Octane not being on a team, regardless of who they put with him. I don't see him not being on a top six team at least.
yeah,
I mean, I think he's gonna really impress people this year and be back with like a vengeance because he went through it this last year, and I think he's ready for a game like Cold War.
yeah.
I think Octane's gonna be again another standout player. I mean, he's been a standout player
I mean, yeah, this year he was the only
every year.
player on his team that was worth a damn. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
So
for the gorillas, I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, I think it was
Um,
the same to say with London and Paris.
yeah,
I mean,
London and Paris. Those are so. Dylan may resign after being free agent. That's Alex might come over from the Rocker. I think Alex is a really good player. I think this past year on a different roster, he would have been phenomenal. Hell, I would have liked to see him on the London Ravens this past year.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see that over Shawnee until Shawnee decided that he was like phenomenal in playoffs. They don't really know who the third would be. I'm trying to figure out.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be a stretch to see one of the twins over there. I don't think.
Yeah, we might see him re-sign. Paris, huh?
I don't really have a take on Paris, to be honest. I don't see Paris being too much of a contender in the next season. I think that they'll be. I mean, prove me wrong, but I think they'll be bottom of the pack. I think they're going to have the most to improve on.
Yeah.
Going through the year.
Pred and Hydra, supposed to be really good in the AM scene. Really, really, really good. Zed had a good year for him. Dens had a rebound year, in my opinion. They were still a bottom of the pack team. Yeah, that's a weird roster. But again, for all I know,
to improve on.
Yeah, if those guys, if Dens and Zed re-sign, Hydra and Pred turn out to be like a Simper, a BZ, or an Illy or Shotzi, just like fucking phenomenal. That team could be nasty. Yeah. Don't really know other than that. As far as, did we miss any other teams? I guess we didn't really go over the Rock. I don't think we went over the Rocker.
That team. We touched on all the players. We didn't necessarily go over that team, but we touched on all the players coming into this year. And
Rocker, I mean, just a quick rundown with them. That team could be good. I mean, I don't see that team being bad.
On paper, the rumored roster looks good.
Yeah. I still don't know if Attach is actually going there or not, but if he does, same thing with Priesta.
I was just gonna say Priesta as well. Like, we'll see what that team ends up looking like, but as rumored with Priesta, Attach, Major Maniac, and Accuracy, I mean that's a top 5 team.
Yeah, that's a top 5
for the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Priesta was literally helped change the 100 Thieves team last year when moving over there and in the past Treyarch game. So he's nuts. Attach seems like he's back the last 2 years.
I think Major Maniac's one of the most underrated players in the league.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Yep. He's been on a top 2 team the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Gen G, which finished like top 2 basically every single event that wasn't like 3 and Black Ops 4. And then this year with Atlanta FaZe, he's the odd man out simply because they have all those other young guns. Like, still was great. And Accuracy, I don't know. I don't think he's like gun skilled the best AR, but he's really good with like understanding the map. Like, I don't know. Yeah. He's really good at like guiding players. He's actually a really decent IGL from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I think that team would be good.
Well, and I think going into this next, because what we've seen in the past from a lot of the Treyarch games is that it's not like last year where you have an M4 and you have MP5s and the meta just kind of decides how many you have on the map. But I mean, in Treyarch games, there seems to always be a third or fourth gun in the rotation. I mean, Black Ops 4, we had the Maddox.
Yeah.
You know, and players like Major Maniac, Attach, Priesta, any of them could play a flex role, to be honest.
Yeah.
They have so much versatility on that team for keeping up the pace. And also, I mean, if it turns out to be a game where, you know, comparing it to Black Ops 4, you have one ICR, you have a Maddox, you have 2 SOGs. I mean, that's a good roster for that kind of meta. If we see something like that again, where there's that third gun that's kind of that in between. It's not really an AR, it's not really a sub. That's a roster that could really go insane with that kind of game.
Yeah.
And just talking, I mean, leading into that, I mean, what did you think of everything? I mean, we've seen a lot of different content on Cold War the last 3 days. between leaks and now to like full blown gameplay? What do you think so far?
So based off gameplay, I would say I only had one concern with the hold on.
Score streaks.
Yeah, score streaks. And I don't know if I like that players that aren't doing good can still get them.
Right. I
I
think that'll be to say. I mean, I think it's very obvious that a handful of things are going to be disabled in
Yeah, as far as
CDL and in the comp
competitively,
league.
yeah, competitively I think we'll be fine. But when I'm just playing for casual play, I don't know if I like the fact that kids that could go like 7-29 are going to be able to get
Yeah.
score streaks. Now I get it. The points required to get those score streaks are higher, but when you get to a certain point and everybody's playing cracked, then it could just be a few just score streaks just flying everywhere, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. Which I mean, they did say that they put cooldowns on the score streaks, from what I understood. But
Yeah.
from watching gameplay, I mean, I saw people stacking score streaks pretty easily. Now, granted, those are the players that are going on streaks.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a penalty for dying. Like, you still get to the streak. I haven't seen enough on it, but I don't know if maybe that's even an alternative. If it's not the case, that you know
Yeah.
you still build up points, but if you die, you do get penalized point wise. So you could still, if you go on a 3 death streak, now you're further away from your streaks. I think that could be an easy little fix for public games,
Yeah.
public matches, just to make them a little more tolerable if it ends up being an issue. But
Right.
from what I've seen, just from watching gameplay, it didn't seem like too many people were having issues with it. But
Yeah,
I did see a funny
no.
clip of someone trying to shoot down a chopper gunner with a rocket launcher, and
I didn't see that.
it probably would have taken about 8 rockets. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah.
No,
It took a
but
very small amount of health down. But
from what I've seen, that's my only complaint, honestly. I know some of the guns are a little OP, but that's just every COD, so
I mean,
those will get adjusted.
we're pre-beta,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, for seeing how good the game looked, the maps too,
Yeah.
loved the maps that I saw. But
And we didn't even get our 3-laners yet. Like, those were just like 12v12 maps from what
Yeah.
I've seen, and those were fucking sick. So
Moscow looked really fun. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I think Moscow is going to be my favorite map for beta, unless they give us a couple more new ones. I don't know if we'll have 3 or if they're going to put in more or what, but
yeah,
it just looked fun, man. The snipers look like
they look fun.
they should.
Yeah. I even like watching the cinematic, like it looked when you're watching like cinematics, I was like, oh, okay, this looks kind of Treyarchy, a little less graphical. But then when they got into actual gameplay, which I think a lot of them were probably playing on PC, but regardless, I thought it looked good, and the movement kind of reminded me of like a mixture of like Black Ops 4 and Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Thank God, no tax sprint.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Thank
Saving
you.
me scuffs over here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been ripping through left
joystick.
Joysticks. Thank you. Yeah, I've been ripping through them. But
the guns all look fun. I mean, we've only seen a few, but and from my understanding, I already saw a tweet from one of the developers because some pros were like, "Hey, slide canceling, that's not cool," and they were like, "Yeah, we're already working on a fix to penalize players for."
Yeah.
As far as like from my understanding, like the cooldown on like your slides and stuff will be a lot different if you just keep repeating or repetitively using it.
Yeah, I mean, which like people were saying on Twitter, like how did we go throughout an entire year having the year we did?
Yeah.
And then we're pre-beta and a game is already fixing key components that would break the game. I can't wait.
Get the whole we're trying to tend to all players, but I feel like each year we get closer and closer to like a lot more players being part of the competitive scene in some capacity, whether they're just a fan, whether they're playing. again, you don't have to like make everything towards competitive, but I think there's certain things that like they just really dodge that they don't need to. I don't know.
Yeah, and I just think like when I think about it, it's like that's the goal, right?
Yeah,
I mean, why don't we want people to just want to get on and play our comp stuff? Because that's how you get viewers
yeah,
for this kind of stuff. When public matches, when people that play public matches start being the people that are queuing into your CDL ranked playlists,
yeah.
that's how you get viewers in your game. That's why games like Counter Strike and games like League of Legends, where the public match is a mirror image of what the pros play,
Right.
that's where that comes from. That's where the drive to watch comes from. So I think they're like on the right breadcrumbs. They're just taking their time getting there. They're piecing it together like 1 year at a time, and they're really. I think this year is going to be the biggest jump we've had in a while, because
Yeah.
I think with the year we had and how vocal so many pros were and CEOs were and everything about the league and how everything was gone about for the game, I think that this next year we're going to see a lot of support for the CDL and just the game in general.
Right.
I think we're going to have a lot more. Um, we're going to be able to do a lot less holding developer hands and trying to tell them exactly what we need, as opposed to
I
we're
th-
going to get given what we need.
yeah, I think that's exactly what needs to happen. Like you can't have the league, the amount of money they put into this damn league, and not have developer support. Like that just can't happen. And I feel like
Yeah.
we finally started seeing little bits and pieces of it from Infinity Ward towards the very end of the season. And I get like I completely understand quarantine and corona and all that stuff like messed up a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But they're constantly releasing updates for like Warzone and shit like that, like the little things that they need for the CDO, like
Yeah.
or the
It's one thing
competitive
if they
side.
came out and said like, "Hey, since all this happened, we're not in the offices. Things are different. We're not able to do what we could normally
Right.
in a regular year. I mean, it's been a weird year, but like you said, the problem is we're getting MP5 nerfs the day before a tournament, and we're getting, you know what I mean? It's not that they're having a hard time working on the game. They're just making the wrong decisions,
Right.
and it's not that everyone's just out to get Infinity Ward. It's just everyone knows the direction this should be going. And when we see a developer kind of start to stray off one way, we're like, hey, like, get back over here. Like, we
Yeah.
got a good thing going here.
Yeah.
We need to rein it in.
And
And
again,
I think that's this year. I think this year is going to be huge
I
for
think
the
so too.
CDL. I think the numbers are going to be crazy. I think there's going to be way more people watching. It's just, I mean, call me biased, but I think Treyarch has it figured out.
Yeah. I mean, even like in the presentation of the multiplayer, they finally have pro players help presenting the game. They have three people from the CDL. Well, I mean, Jess was kind of like not there this year, but they brought her
Mm-hmm.
back for this introduction. They bring her back. They have Maven and Merc like introducing it. Like they understand that there's a fan base there that needs to be tended to,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I get that there's a more broad amount of people, but I feel like a lot of those people are towards Warzone now, anyways. So like the casual player has is totally different now than it was like say when we first started playing games.
Oh, you can tell just by going into a multiplayer. Like you go and shoot the ship,
People are
and
cracked,
you're
bro.
playing against everyone. Everyone's got scump up on their third monitor, and they're fucking just they're cracked. They're insane.
I mean,
And
the amount of people that had like CDL skin or like skins and shit,
yeah,
like
yeah, exactly. It's the CDL players are playing public matches and they're playing CDL playlists.
yeah,
And I mean, they're playing Warzone too, but I mean, who didn't play Warzone a little? I wasn't even. I'm kind of checked out on BRs a little bit, but even I played Warzone a decent amount.
and I'll still be playing Warzone when it comes out. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it'll stay out, and I'm glad that the developers are working together with that, keeping it alive, rather than making another BR that
and
lasts a
like I
year
said,
and then dies because COD. But
I've said this a ton of times to you off offline, off stream, but I think that is the next step. I don't think Call of Duty is going to really take the next step until that becomes a norm for Call of Duty in general, not just Warzone.
Yeah.
I think Call of Duty isn't going to be what it can be until Call of Duty is the game we get 1 year, and maybe every few years we get a new iteration. But I think with this new engine we have that we're seeing in Modern Warfare and in Cold War, I think now is the time to take advantage of that and just work on the same shit for a few years, give us good updates, and not this rush to have a new game every year is what causes a lot of these problems.
I think that's why they added the third developer too, which helps.
Yeah.
But this was supposed to be Sledgehammer's year, and they weren't even ready. So
that's what I'm saying. It's just it seems redundant,
yeah.
and it seems like you one step forward, two steps back every time. We get a Treyarch game, and it's like, oh my god, this is what Call of Duty could be, and then 2 steps back 2 years in a row. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
It's a tough one from up top. I definitely see both sides of the argument. It's just like
when I see, Treyarch's not supposed to technically have a game ready until next year.
Yeah,
this is like you said, it's supposed to be Sledgehammer's year, but guess what? Treyarch's here. They have a great game and they're ready to put it out. It's like, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm biased, but the way I see it is, Treyarch deserves it. Treyarch has proven time and time again over the last decade that they're the ones that really probably could take Call of Duty to the next level,
Yeah, it's
but
tough, dude.
Hopefully competition makes Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward really step their game up, because I mean it's not just me. I mean, all over Twitter, everyone talking Call of Duty is always so excited for the new Treyarch game,
And I'm not gonna like take anything away from Infinity Ward. Like I get it.
Infinity Ward's the GOATs. I mean, they dropped some of the best games.
I mean, Modern Warfare 2, COD 4, and Modern Warfare 3 were all phenomenal. Yeah. They've had like a couple iffy years. Even Modern Warfare, this iteration, I didn't like it at first, but I started loving it. Like the more I played it, now it's just kind of old to me. I'm excited for the Treyarch game, but
yeah,
just because I follow the competitive scene. I think Treyarch looks better competitively. But Warzone, to me, is my favorite fucking BR to come out with. I loved Blackout when that came out, but it just brought together so many different platforms. Next year, we're getting cross-generational, which is great. Even if you aren't a BR player, like that's still good for like the multiplayer side of things.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm just excited. I want to see more stuff coming out. I want to play it. Can't wait for the beta. I was kind of baited with the whole early access comes out the 8th, and then LOL JK, that's just for PlayStation 4 players.
Yeah. Yep. I knew that PlayStation was going to have exclusive,
I know, dude. It's just so fucking
annoying,
dude. Like even the competitive scene needs. Yeah.
You want to buy the game twice? That's what it comes down to. It's like, I'll just wait. I mean,
yeah, it's an extra week.
I'll have my 4-day weekend to play it. I mean,
yeah,
that's okay with me. It gives me time to just kind of chill and watch the game and really dissect it.
Yeah.
Get other people's opinions on it, and then we get our hands on it. Yeah. So plan on, I noticed that when I rebuilt my PC, I neglected to get the amount of RAM I thought I had ordered.
Yeah.
I have 16 gigs less than what I thought, and Modern Warfare takes a lot of RAM. So I'm excited to have more RAM for the new game to come out, too. So I can run it well, because, man, that was a shot.
Yeah, Modern Warfare just kept... Bro, if I had to download that on my PC more than just Warzone, dude, half my PC would be gone in storage. They just kept running updates, but whatever.
Yeah, I think we covered everything pretty much. I mean, I don't want to go too far into Cold War. We haven't seen much.
Yeah, no, we'll still have
talk about it in the near future.
Yeah, no, we have plenty that we can cover with that.
Yeah.
Other than that, dude, I mean, for anybody who's stayed this long, not all of our podcasts will be CDL/COD. It's just that's our thing. We fucking love that shit. we'll be bullshitting other stuff too.
Yeah, this one was definitely, we knew it was going to take us about an hour to cover
Yeah.
everything going on with Rostermania and talk about the new game for a little bit. Future podcasts will probably be, like you said, a little more laid back, a little, different topics, funny stuff, whatever.
Yeah. Stuff
But
that we
this one
just
was just,
casually talk about, but like,
yeah, this one was just, there's so much to dissect. There's so many moving parts right now, so much going on that this was going to take all of our time this time.
and we'll have
I think it's
episodes like this
understandable.
periodically just because we love talking about this stuff and want to make a community around the Call of Duty scene, but as well as just other normal, like pop culture stuff, other laughs and stuff we'll have for that.
Yeah.
Not every episode will be COD related. It's just, that's our thing. We
Yeah.
want to shout out the sponsor today. They are. Go check them out. In the videos, I will post all of our socials and everything.
Yep.
Don't have a name yet. We'll see when that comes out. We're fucking trying to figure out that shit.
Yeah, we figured the content first. We'll figure out, the name and everything in due time. We just wanted to get this out while we could. While
We'll
Rostermania was
start
going on.
out uploading to each individual channel. I'm sure if we get enough growth, we'll just start doing it to one channel after that, just to really focus on people. But if this continues to grow, maybe other audio platforms as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, be sure to check us out on our other platforms, YouTube,
we
Twitch.
stream Twitch. Yeah, get on here.
Yeah.
We'll be hopefully doing this a lot more. We've been talking
There's
about
no
it for
reason
a
we
while.
can't do this regularly. It was just a means of getting it set up.
Yeah.
And with us being in two different places and everything going on right now, that can be kind of difficult, different work schedules. But now that we have it kind of figured out, I don't see why we couldn't have an hour conversation even once a week. We won't, because that would, what the hell would we talk about even? But
yeah,
maybe once every 2 weeks we could drop something like this.
Yeah, like a 2 episode a month podcast until we start getting really like able to do this shit. It's just tough, but we're at least gonna try to do 2 a month. We're gonna eventually want to do more, but yeah.
If you want to see more of us for now, like we said, be sure to check out our YouTubes. Be sure to check out our Twitches.
And, my brother said the BigShot show. Bro.
The BigShot show. I don't think that's gonna make the cut, Caleb, but we appreciate it.
And then so there will be guests every now and then. It won't just be us, but we're planning on doing us two as like this. If the other friends want to do podcasts as well, we can do a separate one. But we're gonna have
so whether you guys
show.
Skipped through here and you're just listening to the ending now, we appreciate you guys stopping in. If you guys did listen to the whole thing, we commend you. I know it was a long hour.
Yeah.
There's a lot to cover. But thanks for getting through it with us. And we will see you guys on the next BigShot show, as Caleb called it.
Yeah. That's going to be only this outro ever type thing.
Yeah. Hey, if you were here for it,
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for getting the chat in before work and everything.
Yep, sounds good, man.
Later.
See ya.